The film begins with Eric, who arrives alone on a deserted island. After a long drive, he stops near a car, which turns out to belong to his friend. He gets out of the car, takes a drive back from his car, and changes the numbers on both cards. After that, both of them take a single print race out of the cars and continue the journey on foot. He reached near a house by the sea. Taking out his gun, he searches the entire house, but finds no one here. It turns out that he was looking for a woman by this name here for a day, but there was no one here. He suddenly feels as if someone has called him. He goes outside to look, but there is no one around. He hears the same voice again, and now, following the voice, he reaches the seashore where he sees a metal bag and also notices a lot of blood nearby. Upon seeing it, for a moment, he gave a breast of a woman nearby. She could somewhat understand that all this might be Dennis's doing, but she wasn't sure. So she picked up a nearby bucket and cleared everything, then threw the bucket into the sea. Just then, she heard someone calling out again. This was the match between Dennis's son and Eric's part, where he started asking about his mom. Eric tells him that he hasn't seen her coming here. As they reach home, they see that Paul was here too. He was their fourth companion. Actually, let me tell you what was really happening here. These people had stolen a painting worth $40 million, after which their plan was to sell it and then leave the country. Bonnie was supposed to come here first with the painting, and now she isn't even here. These people think that Eric must have killed Dennis because the paint that should have been with Dennis was with Eric at this time. And obviously, by killing Dennis, his share would also increase. Paul and I don't reveal who our good Eric is. Eric stays like that. We will wait here for Denise to come for one day, and if she doesn't come, then we will leave from here. At that moment, one takes all their phones and puts them in the red bag he had earlier and drops it in the middle of the ocean. Hardly had he returned when he started hearing strange sounds from the sea. The sound was so loud that even Matt and Belle could hear it clearly. And the strange thing about this sound was, it hypnotized all three of them. All three of them walked like zombies to the sea. And when they regain consciousness, even these three do not know why they came here. These people return home and think that all this must have happened due to exhaustion. They decide to sleep, but I was still worried about my mom. Paul encourages her and says, "They say your mom will come by tomorrow, at night." Now Paul comes to Eric and questions him. "Tell the truth, you didn't kill Dinesh to hide your relationship with Eric, did you?" Eric assures Paul that he did nothing of the sort. Inside, we watch the match, and when it comes out, it's filled with blood. It's the same bucket that Eric had thrown into the sea. He gets worried upon seeing the bucket, and as soon as he puts his hand inside, the bracelet of his mom's disc also comes out from inside the goat. Seeing this bracelet, he becomes insanely angry, and his suspicion starts turning into certainty that Eric must have killed his mom. He starts yelling loudly at Eric, and Paul tries to calm him down. They were engaged in a debate when suddenly, there was a loud knocking on their door. Upon opening the door, they saw a girl, quite anxious, asking for their help. Rick and Paul rush out from there to help the girl. As I keep looking at the bucket of the phone, and keep wondering who might have placed this bucket here. Meanwhile, Eric and Paul reach the seaside to help the girl. Let's see, there his friend was lying in a completely weakened state. Eric gives that girl sepia and revives her, after which Eric picks her up and brings her to his home. These days, Eric asks questions like, "How do you guys tell girls here that our friend had an accident and we managed to reach here while saying this?" When these people ask for their names, all three of them give such names that upon hearing them, these people laugh and say, "Wow, you all have names just like characters from stories." So now, Buletia asks these three about themselves, and they create little stories to hide their identities. Buletia asks why they have come here, and they say they have come here to throw a baseless party. Now the girls ask them for their phone so they can call someone for help, but they had already thrown everything on the phone. So Eric adds another twist here and says that we had made a rule that we wouldn't bring phones to this party. Now the girls found this strange, So I said, we will drop you off in the countryside first thing in the morning, where someone will help you, and you'll also find a phone there. Now, one girl needed to go to the washroom. Paul shows the girl the way to the washroom and also the painting they had stolen. Well, he picks it up and hides it under the seat. At the same time, his eyes also fall on the bag that had gone into the sea. Patty, that bank now doesn't think much about the house ball at this time and also picks up that bag and hides it under the bag. Ball, feeling anxious, takes Matt to the kitchen and tells him, I feel like someone is playing a game with us because the bag we gave Rick to throw into the sea is now at home, and everything inside it is just as it was. Hearing this, I start going mad with anger, and now he becomes convinced that Eric is definitely going to betray them, and he is the one who killed Dinesh. When Eric comes to listen to their conversations, seeing them as strangers, I scold him a lot. Eric, managing the situation, says, control your emotions. We just need to get through this night. In the morning, we'll give these girls the keys to our own car and leave from here. These three also now come close to those three girls, and the girls ask them to play a game. In the scale, they had to learn about each other. A girl here tells them that she is Frances, and upon hearing this, all three start laughing. The second girl reveals who the champion is, and, to assert herself, she even knocks Eric down here. While playing games like this, these people become friends. But then the light goes out. Eric goes outside to fix the light, and one lady follows him. These people started getting attracted to each other, and during all this, in the afternoon, they hear a sound from the sea, just like they heard in the afternoon, a sound that was hypnotizing them. He said, oh, she is in such a hypnotized state. She wants to be troubled, and tries to bring her to her senses. She doesn't regain consciousness. They had started heading towards the sea, and were halfway there. Why did they regain consciousness, and what did they see? The mermaid on the shore was covered in blood, and human body organs were scattered around. Seeing this, all three of them got scared, including the girl who was with them. She took it out from Eric's pocket. Eric is taunted and asked, tell me what you did with my friends. Nothing was coming. Eric tries to explain that he saw many similar marks around this sea in the afternoon as well. Surely something bad is happening here. Instead of fighting, we should cleanse our friends. Actually, Matt and the girl who was with him had disappeared from here. Before they could do anything else, the sound from the sea started again, which hypnotized them. With difficulty, he keeps himself composed and tells Paul Eric that we should return and place something inside the vehicles so that this noise doesn't bother us, and we can also find our companions. When they reached home, they saw that the girl was already there and was trying to find the map. Now, they start to suspect her. Could she be the one behind all this? He tightens it over him, and just then, the sound from the sea begins again. Eric begins to get hypnotized, and the girl takes advantage of this by stabbing a knife into Eric's chest. After a while, when Eric regained consciousness, he saw that Paul was taking care of him. Paul took him to the washroom. She dropped the toilet paper into Eric's ears, so he wouldn't hear any sound. Eric now wants to go outside to find Mac, but it was quite dark here. In such a situation, Eric's foot hits something flashy, and he also slips here. As soon as he slips, some invisible force pulls him into the ocean and drowns him. Paul had seen a faint target from afar. Now, to avoid all this happening to him, he gives his painting and ties himself well with ropes to the housey pillar so that he cannot draw it towards himself with sound. There were many voices, but these ropes did their job. Despite being hypnotized, Paul did not move towards the sea. Morning comes. Paul regains consciousness. He keeps himself as clean as ropes. And that's when we learn from the flashback in his mind that Paul had already informed the police about Eric's visit by giving them his picture, as he didn't trust Eric. He felt that Eric would definitely betray him. He wanted to catch Eric, but ended up getting trapped himself. After a while, he saw that the three girls were standing right in the middle of the sea, singing and calling him towards them. These were the same familiar voices that they had been hearing before. The ball also gets hypnotized and starts moving in that direction, and finally, The girls suddenly throw it into the water. Under the water, it was seen that the girls were just ordinary girls. Actually, it was Marmats who tracked people in this way, and was given here twice. Next, we see Derij sitting by the seashore. His condition at this time was very severe, as if someone had attacked, but he had still survived. Tearing her own clothes, she ties herself up, and when she comes into this house, she sees that there was no one in this house. He had no companion, and the painting he had stolen with such effort was hanging on the wall here. Suddenly, something invisible appeared again. It pulls Dee into the sea and happens again. In the movie's poster, we see a number printing which was actually a painting by Marmats. This was not just a painting, but an entire story was embedded within it, a story that they all become a part of. And with this, the movie ends here.